Coming from a cold Thanksgiving in 2002, we go into the year 2003, which is one of those years that feels just normal. No big major events going on, but it did give us some big celebrity names. Instead, we are going to be ranking 25 songs here. This is my ranking of the songs from the 2003 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. At number 25, I think this one was a no-brainer when it came to this ranking, and that is Hard to Love by Old Crow Medicine Show. From their debut album that would be released 3 months later, string band Old Crow Medicine Show brings us the fifth song from the album, Hard to Love. This is also the album that brought us their hit, Wagon Wheel. The tone of the song does give us that folk style that you want to dance to, but what the lyrics are telling me is not to. If you thought the lyrics were questioning, wait till you see the parade performance. Man, I don't know if this was NBC's fault here, but the band was way off and they gave us a short performance. Actually, scratch that. It didn't feel like a performance. After Matt Lauer introduced them, you already hear Joe Goddard announcing and telling you what's coming up. This has to be listed as one of the worst lipped or music syncing performances ever, because you don't get a glimpse of the song, and it doesn't feel like a performance. Way to go, NBC. Way to go. Number 24, Please and Thank You and Good Manners by the cast of Barney and Friends. Well, here we go again, but this time, after I saw the two-part Peacock documentary, I Love You, You Hate Me, this doesn't mean I hate Barney, not even the Macy's Parade at all. It's just, I don't like some of the songs here. And these two are definitely not on the positive side for me. I've listened to the main versions on the show, and it's not my thing. And also, I have a question. Do we say manners in the morning, at noon, and night nowadays? Not all the time as reality shows, and it looks like I'm kind of being rude to Barney here. It's just the songs and also the parade performance, let alone the costume performance, couldn't get their mouths moving at the right time, just a bit slightly, especially with Baby Bop. It shows that our favorite dinosaur is also lip-syncing as well. So, good manners are important to everyone in the world. Well, it is in the season of Thanksgiving, but learning manners from Barney is probably not one of them as an adult. Number 23, I Won't Dance by the cast of Broadway's Never Gonna Dance. Based on the Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers classic film Swing Time, Broadway decided to take it to the stage with a musical called Never Gonna Dance. And the Macy's Parade brought us a preview with the number I Won't Dance, led by the star of the musical, Noah Racy. Which I will say this, great choreography, very forgettable. And it's not surprising because the musical only lasted 84 performances since it was mixed by critics. And that is because the tone of the lyrics of this musical doesn't work. The parade performance shows it was going to be great, as the tap dancing seems like they're forcing it in the show, and not much on the music and the vocals of the cast. So I won't dance to this musical because who does? Not to mention this musical only has CD samples and no official soundtrack to this musical, so I won't dance. Number 22, I'll Be Home for Christmas by Ann Hampton Callaway and Peter Nero. Legendary pianist Peter Nero, with his legendary group, the Philly Pops, collaborated with singer Ann Hampton Callaway for his Christmas album, Holiday Pops, and chose the seventh song from the album, their rendition of I'll Be Home for Christmas, which I thought this was a parade exclusive when I was doing my research here, but no, it actually came from the album by Nero, not Callaway when I was trying to search this rendition years ago. And finally listening to this full version for the first time, I still have the vibes when I listened to the first time back when the 2003 was uploaded to YouTube. This rendition is kind of forgettable for me. I will give it on how calm and relaxing it is, especially the instrumental part by Nero, and Callaway's vocals are good. It's just the tone feels like a lullaby version to listen to on Christmas Eve. A good placement, but not in the Macy's Parade. And then the Cheezosaurus Rex gets skipped for the broadcast to a commercial break. Number 21, Fallen by Maya. Maya Harrison had released her third album, Mood Ring, and the second song from the album called Fallen would get a single release on November 11th, which I can see why this was the song choice. And it wasn't a good choice. For a song about a boy based on the music video, I guess, oh well, we will see another song about a boy later on in this list. I just didn't feel the mood on what her perspective was. I think it was just because it's almost 4 minutes could be a thing, but I will give it the parade performance was decent. Number 20, Hop to It from the Big Comfy Couch by Alyson Court. Now before I begin with this, I would like to address here is that I never watched the Big Comfy Couch when I was a kid. Heck, it was not even my local PBS stations. There was something else I found about the show, which was this appearance on a video called Kids for Character Counts video, which I don't have, but I kind of heard about it. So that's where I kind of knew what it was a little bit. Then here's the parade, and I kind of got to know more about it thanks to the defunct TV episode on the show. When they appeared in the parade, this was around the time the show returned in 2002 after 6 years of an absence. One of the songs from the new season was Hop to It, which is also the second song from the show's soundtrack with a wiggle and a giggle. Based on the lyrics, I wouldn't do many things of those things that Loonette or her actress Alyson Court said in the song, especially find a bee. Yeah, I'm not big on this song, but it is better than the 5 others on this list for sure that I just mentioned. Number 19, When I Get My Name in Lights by the cast of Broadway's The Boy from Oz. Based on the life of Australian songwriter Peter Allen, this jukebox musical tells us about his life, and for the parade, we go into his childhood days. Under his real last name, Peter Woollenall, he performs at a local bar at his childhood home in Tenterfield, Australia. As this young Peter, played by Mitchell David Federer, performs When I Get My Name in Lights. And do I tap and sing and play the piano for this number? Not really, mainly the choreography. Now keep in mind, Mitchell was a kid at the time, so I don't want to criticize him here. It's just the tone of this number doesn't fit with the tapping. Also, the audio in the parade did feel different comparing to the one in the soundtrack. And I'm wondering on how cold Mitchell was wearing those clothes during his live performance. The number in the soundtrack is not bad, but just listening to it feels better instead of seeing it. Number 18, When Hope Was There by the USO Troupe of Metropolitan New York and Camp Broadway. 2003 had a couple of big-name celebrity deaths. In that year, we lost legends like Art Carney, Michael Jeter, Buddy Hackett, Gregory Hines, Robert Palmer, Nina Simone, John Ritter, Johnny and June Carter Cash, Gregory Peck, Katharine Hepburn, and Fred Rogers. But what I would say is the biggest is when many people calls him one of the greatest entertainers of the 20th century, Bob Hope, who passed away on July 27th at the age of 100. With his death and with his participation in the Macy's parade back in 1994, a brand new scholarship would be introduced to that year's parade with the Bob Hope Band Scholarship, later renamed the Bob and Dolores Hope Band Scholarship, and was given to one member of one kid of one of the marching bands that participated in that year's parade for his or her good deeds. The second was a tribute performance on the Statue of Liberty float with 3 members of the USO Troupe of Metropolitan New York, and the kids at Camp Broadway performs a special rendition for the parade, When Hope Was There. With his spirit to his adopted country, since he was originally from England and immigrated to the US as a young boy, his commitment to the country was big, especially for the military during World War II, and the entertainment part of him being a Hollywood star. My only issue is, I don't know if the tribute was perfect, mainly on how short it was, and why the kids at Camp Broadway wearing fishing gear and singing with golf clubs. Mainly those moments, and it wasn't a big highlight for that year's parade, for me at least, since I was only 3 years old when he passed, and I didn't even know who he was until 2011 when I heard he hosted the most times at the Academy Awards and an idol for Billy Crystal. The fact that even the Macy's parade honor his legacy shows us that even if he only appeared once, unless if I'm mistaken, that Macy's did have the respect for Mr. Bob Hope. Number 17, Trust Your Heart by Judy Collins. The legendary Judy Collins has been in a couple of Macy's parades, and we just looked at her appearance in the 1998 parade. And what would be her last parade she has done? She was performing her 1987 classic, which was also the title song from her album of that year, Trust Your Heart. Listening to it, and with her being the first celebrity roster for the parade, was definitely a great start. The unfortunate part is that you cannot get the original recording of the song from the album, which was the audio for the parade, digitally. The only way to get the song is some of her re-recordings, mainly from the Voices Shameless album from 1995. I really want the original, but I can't. But my heart is trusted by her magnificent voice. Number 16, Good Morning World by the cast of Sesame Street. Our friends from the most famous street celebrates their international fans by greeting them in all Good Morning Common greetings in their respective countries. And who better to lead this off than the furry monster who got his alter ego to be a balloon that year, the traveling monster of Sesame Street himself, Grover. Now I will give it this. It's good, but it's not in the levels of Sesame Street's best performances. I do got some of the common greetings they said, but I don't know some of the others based on the lyrics, and also one big thing they really did here is that Elmo is singing too loud. I mean, he's trying to steal the spotlight from his fellow neighbors on Sesame Street. Even Grover had to get him over one time with Elmo when he was saying the sun is rising at the end. I think this was the beginning of the parade to be focused on Elmo and no one else. But we know HBO would do that years later. Number 15, Little Shop of Horrors and Suddenly Seymour by the cast of Broadway's Little Shop of Horrors. Everyone knows this famous musical, Little Shop of Horrors, adapting the 1960s movie to an off-Broadway musical in 1982 with music by Alan Menken and lyrics by Howard Ashman. Two would become later Disney legends. And a film adaptation directed by Frank Oz in 1986, but it never came to Broadway until 2003. Yep, the horror musical came to Broadway this year, which this has been labeled unfortunately as a revival, instead of a new musical for Broadway, and for the Macy's Parade, they brought us 2 numbers. The title song, Little Shop of Horrors by the Urchins, and Suddenly Seymour by Sutton Foster's older brother Hunter and Carrie Butler, who was in the parade last year as Penny Pinkleton in Hairspray. For Little Shop of Horrors, what a great opening number this is. These urchins do show us we're in the 60s, since it is the setting of this musical. Suddenly Seymour really works well, especially for Carrie Butler, which her Audrey sounds better than her Penny voice. Hunter, though, good, but doesn't look or speak like Seymour. Also, a fun fact, did you know who's Carrie Butler's husband? None other than Sesame Street Muppeteer Joey Mazzarino. For the parade, I will give that the Little Shop of Horrors number is well done here with the urchins singing and their choreography. For Suddenly Seymour, other than Butler's voice, the number went a little fast and Hunter doesn't even fit, even if he was nominated for a Tony for his performance. Also, can I say, I don't like the design of Audrey 2 for this version of this musical. It's so cheap and brightly colored. Of course, I don't want to go and meet this plant, but this musical tells me I should. Number 14, Big City Swing by America Sings. Well, what do we got for these young men and women this time? An actual good opening number. And we got the real voices of them as we heard in 2001. Once again, these people, under the direction of John Jacobson, brings us an opening number that gives you the big hype. As the parade's starting to march on, America Sings gives us a Big City Swing. It seems similar to Big City Beat from the 1998 parade, but it's a swing, not a beat. This was definitely a massive step up from the previous year, and the set of lyrics just works well to kick off another fantastic parade. Everyone seemed to have fun here, and we got to hear the real voices of those instead of, well, I'm not going to go in there. Let's just go on to the next number. Number 13, Silver Bells by Clay Aiken. After the second season of American Idol came to an end, they made a special holiday compilation album called American Idol: The Great Holiday Classics, which brings us not just the contestants from this past season, but also from the first season as well. And the fifth song from the album was actually a duet, and that was Silver Bells with Kimberly Locke, who placed third place in that season, and the runner-up who performs this song in the parade, Clay Aiken. Now his and Kimberly's cover is great, but as I've stated in the last episode, collab performances doesn't usually happen in the parade a lot, and this was another case. And we can't get this song or even the entire holiday album digitally, not even on Spotify. As for Clay, doing it on his own, it honestly worked well, especially the feeling when you're getting close to the end of the parade. Soon it will be the end of the parade with Clay Aiken's relaxing, joyful performance. Number 12, There's Gotta Be More to Life by Stacy Rico. At 14 years old, Stacie Rico released her first album in 2000. Now at 17, she released her second self-titled album with the second song, There's Gotta Be More to Life, as her song choice for the parade, which is basically about different lives, and it's a good song, and Orrico's vocals work so well. I even like the parade performance based on the set of lyrics they chose for the broadcast. Not many issues here other than tough competition for this roster of songs, but we now begin why there are a couple of good songs from this year's parade. Number 11, Addicted by Simple Plan. Last year, a rock band from Canada made its debut with an album called, and I kid you not, no pads, no helmets, just balls. I don't know why they put that there. A year later, that band named Simple Plan would perform their seventh song that would get a single release this year called Addicted. Now this song really makes me want to jump, or for in this case, my feet clap, with this rock and roll rhythm that got me. Man, that feels good. And despite a vocal difference for the parade, because they couldn't say the word dick for the parade's telecast, I really did enjoy the performance. My only drawback is Addicted supposed to be a breakup song, or base the title, the cover of the album, or even the music video feels the result of a college dorm room party? But it's not over, because I do want to listen to this song again, and when I get my feels from it. And yes, this was the band that performs the theme song to What's New Scooby-Doo. Number 10, One Better by Aaron Carter. After his first parade in 2000 with his rendition of I Want Candy, Aaron Carter, now at 15, soon to be 16, brings us a song from his fourth and first compilation album, Most Requested Hits, as he performs one of his new songs from the album, track number 14, One Better. Wow, this is actually a really good song, one of the many great and overlooked songs by a teen artist that is about his love for a girl. The tone with the music, his vocals, and even the backup singers are a highlight, and a great build-up to the final verses here. The parade performance is good, but I think the ending was a bit rushed. And I think when he did the main verse, I think they should have done the part with the backing vocals. However, there is something I do have to mention here, and it's not the song. As many of you know, this past month, on November 5th, 2022, Aaron Carter had passed away at the young age of 34. So for his times in the Macy's parade, he chose two great songs, with his rendition of I Want Candy in 2000, and for 2003, One Better brings us not only a step up, but a great song for his career. Number 9, Sorry 2004 by Ruben Studdard. Fresh off from winning the second season of American Idol, Ruben Studdard's first album came out with Soulful, and the first track from the album that got a single release being Sorry 2004. Now, the album received mixed reviews, but I would say what would be one of the good songs is this one. As one of those rare back-together songs I've heard, knowing there have been a lot more in movies and TV shows, that has the male lead trying to get his girl back, which is often bland, and generic, if we go by that style. I will say it works for this song, on not just how many times he's been saying sorry, but how he really messed up and would be better. And ironically for the parade, like Simple Plan with Addicted, Ruben couldn't say damn I'm sorry for the broadcast. He had to say girl I'm sorry. The parade performance is great as well, and it would begin for Hess Corporation's second float, Bridge to the Future, to be a yearly favorite for 11 more years. Number 8, My Favorite Things by Peter Cincotti. At the age of 20, Peter Cincotti released a 2-song limited release during the Christmas season called My Favorite Time of Year, with the title song being the first track and the second being his rendition of My Favorite Things. And this is the second time we're looking at this song, and I do think that this is better than the one from the 1998 Broadway revival of The Sound of Music. With the jazzy tune that Cincotti has, with the style, especially with the piano, works so beautifully. Not to mention his voice makes it so heartfelt for a song like this. The parade performance also did great as well, with Cincotti starting up on a Lego piano at the beginning. Now, you would think this song won't be available digitally because the 2-song CD was a limited time back then. Well, for My Favorite Things, you're wrong. You can actually get Cincotti's rendition of My Favorite Things from a compilation album called Watercolors Silver. A song available digitally and a great parade performance. One of my favorite things from the 2003 parade. Number 7, Jolly Old St. Nicholas by Chicago. In 2003, Chicago re-released their album from 1998 under the title What's It Gonna Be Santa, as it comes with some brand new songs, and in the third track, a brand new rendition, which is Jolly Old St. Nicholas. Led by guitarist Keith Howland, he talks about what is Santa going to bring them, let alone new instruments for some of the members. Although I prefer their cover of Let It Snow, their rendition here is still awesome. Out of the 3 years they performed in the parade, this is in the middle. This rock and roll style works for a band like this, on how fastly paced this song is to the lyrics and the instruments. Only question is, why would there be a gap in the song when Keith says, Trish wants a dolly, but what are you going to bring to me, Santa? I don't know if that was on purpose. The parade performance, they should have had a little bit more of the first section of the song before they went to the main verse. I don't know what Macy Santa would bring me this Christmas, but a little Chicago and NYC mix, I'll take it. Number 6, Mr. Fezziwig's Annual Christmas Ball by the cast of Madison Square Garden's A Christmas Carol, featuring Jim Dale, Roland Ruzinek, and Kelly Ellenwood. 2003 marked the 10th and final year of Madison Square Garden's production of A Christmas Carol the musical. And to end it off, we have the final Scrooge for this year, which was Jim Dale. In addition, you had Mr. Fezziwig, played by Roland Ruzinek, and Mrs. Fezziwig, who's been played by Kelly Ellenwood since 2000. Joining with the Ghost of Christmas Present, played by Justin Brill, we go into the past with the number Mr. Fezziwig's Annual Christmas Ball. Can I just say what a fun time this number is, because it's supposed to be a Christmas party, or ball I should say, thanks to the Fezziwigs themselves. Like the previous 2 episodes, I talked about A Christmas Carol's musical soundtrack's cast recording album is only from the first year back in 1994, so we never got any re-recordings of the other previous years. Ironically enough, Roland Ruzinek uploaded a video of not just the parade performance, but he, Kelly, and Jim's performance on stage, filmed by probably someone he knows, I guess, on his YouTube channel. But if you know my rules on the show, YouTube cannot count. But based on the live performances, Roland and Kelly's beginning part was astounding. Only thing that the number itself is that it's another number that focuses more on the dancing instead of the lyrics. For the parade, they were the last celebrity rosters of that year, and it makes sense on their final year. And not just Jim, Roland, Kelly, and Justin sang the number, but the entire cast as well, from the Marleys, the other spirits, and the other citizens of London. Only catches is not only it's fast, which is still great, but when we hear Jim Dale's part, why does the camera show us the ghost of Jacob Marley instead of Scrooge himself? Well, we thank all the citizens of A Christmas Carol for 10 years at Madison Square Garden, and the cast goes and celebrates a ball at the world-famous department store. Number 5, Santa Knows from Percy the Poor Little Penguin by Harvey Fierstein and the Dynamites from Broadway's Hairspray. Although Macy's puppet theater show Percy the Poor Little Penguin came to an end last year, it still has to finish its mandatory parade appearance of 3. And to wrap up Percy's journey is Edna Turnblad herself, aka Harvey Fierstein, the Tony Award-winning star of Broadway's Hairspray, as he joins with the Dynamites to perform a song from the show, Santa Knows. Out of all the 3 songs from the show that was in the parade, this is the best. Combining Percy with Hairspray works, especially with the Dynamites pairing with Edna. My only problem is that this song is way too short. I think there should be more lyrics to this, and you can listen to this on William Skimmerhort's page on SoundCloud. If you're naughty or nice, and if you get toys, or for Edna, clothes, like the costume she's wearing, no matter what you're doing, Santa knows. Number 4, Central Park, New York by the Wiggles. For their third and last parade, the childhood icons from Australia performing a song theming for this year's parade as the Wiggles goes to Central Park, New York from their 18th album, Top of the Tots, as their second song. Along with Captain Feathersword, the Wiggles, now properly bundled up, brings the easiest song of the year to remember the lyrics to, although I wish they would have let them finish the song for the parade. Even though I've never been to the Big Apple, I don't know if Central Park would be one of my destinations to go to, other than maybe the filming locations if you've seen their Top of the Tots video. Now, I will say that Central Park, New York is not the best song from that album. That goes to Bow Wow Wow. So, according to Anthony, I'm supposed to say, "G'day, squirrels," when I go to Central Park. Well, there's a lot in my hometown, so no. Number 3, So Yesterday by Hilary Duff. The star of Disney Channel's Lizzie McGuire, Hilary Duff made her second album called Metamorphosis, with the first track that also got a single release as she performs her smash breakup song hit, So Yesterday. Surprisingly, this song was average for critics, from mixed to good reviews. I'm in the positive here, on how to do a massive breakup song in a fun way to teach him a lesson. The parade performance was great as well. Plus, I really like her outfit here. Man, that pink sweater really stands out here for me. Also, other than the security guard on the other side, you might notice who's the little girl on the float, and it was Katie Couric's daughter. So to all those men out there, if you want to avoid your ex-girlfriend making a massive breakup prank to make you look stupid, Lizzie McGuire will tell you you're So Yesterday. Number 2, Jungle Boogie by Kool and the Gang. Time to get down, as we go into Kool and the Gang's classic hit Jungle Boogie from their 1973 album Wild and Peaceful. Whoa, man, this feels like it fits for a party. It's a classic we're talking about here. How can you not deny this? It's great to hear this classic for the parade. I'm on this. The only reason it couldn't be number 1 is that because the performance started when Katie and Matt were introducing to the float. And although I love this version here, they could have done a re-recording for the parade only. I mean, they did it with Celebration back in 1999, but not this one? How many sounds can I make here? Okay, because I can't stop boogieing down on how great this song is. And my number 1 song from the 2003 Macy's Parade, and pretty much the big highlight of that year, well, I'll just say this real quick. Come with me to the Emerald City. Number 1, One Short Day by the cast of Broadway's Wicked, featuring Kristin, Chenoweth, and Idina Menzel. The untold story of the Witches of Oz made its Broadway debut this year, a prequel before the events of Dorothy arriving in Oz. It tells the story of an unlikely friendship between Galinda, later the Good Witch, and Elphaba, later the Wicked Witch of the West, Wicked becomes one of, if not the biggest Broadway musical of the 2000s, and it's still being played at the Gershwin Theater today. As we arrive in the Emerald City with the number One Short Day, the stars of the musical, Kristin Chenoweth, well known already on Broadway thanks to her Tony Award-winning performance in the revival of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and later on the television shows including The West Wing and the first Miss Noodle on Sesame Street. And Idina Menzel, who became a favorite since her appearance in the Tony Award-winning musical Rent, and actually won a Tony for her role in this musical, and later would become the voice of the Snow Queen herself, Elsa, in Disney's Frozen. As we see them arriving at the Emerald City and to meet the Wizard of Oz himself, as this number basically welcomes them and the audience to this place on stage. This number is now magnificent on how Stephen Schwartz created this fantasy number to the stage, and Chenoweth and Menzel's performances, and even the ensemble. With this number alone, I can see why it won the Grammy for Best Musical Theater Album. And we cannot forget their performance at Herald Square. Starting with the ribbon dancer and the green costumes for the ensemble, we feel like we're in a Macy's version of the Emerald City, with Herald Square being a centerpiece, even though it's not all green. Now, it is odd to see Idina Menzel not looking like her. I'm looking at the real Elphaba here. That was back in 2003. Although I do see Kristin Chenoweth as herself. But if there is one thing I have to ask, what the fridge are these three big heads? It makes their necks gross and those big eyes, mouths, and teeth. Ugh. That's my only critique here, as not only it is the highlight of that year, not only the best Broadway performance, but living in the Emerald City for one short day, this song from Wicked brings us the best song of 2003. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this episode, you can hit that subscribe button and like button and comment down below your personal ranking on these 25 songs. Next up, we go into one of the warmest Thanksgivings in New York City as 2004 is around the corner.